here is the default ports for a Steam game, in this case Conan Exiles in particular. 7777 and 27015 are the two default ports required to run Conan Exiles Dedicated Server. Here you'll see an example of some of the other entries I have for ports in my firewall. You'll see that my Conan dedicated server, my dead server, which is a separate machine from my gaming machine, has already been using these ports. What we want to do for the case of troubleshooting, configure the ports for this dedicated server on your own gaming machine with port numbers that are higher than anything else you have. Two reasons. One for troubleshooting. So if you have a port conflict, we won't be able to tell unless you use ports higher than what you currently have in there. One, it'll avoid port conflicts, and two, it'll avoid you thinking you can't connect to your machine because some funky thing is going on. And the other is so that you keep all the ports in your firewall very separated, well labeled, so when it does come time for troubleshooting, it's not hard to find what you've done or wrong and or done right. Once we know what our port forwarding scheme is going to be, we are going down to download the latest current official version of the server launcher, which is 1.3.1. What I always do is just right click, save link as, and it'll fall into your downloads folder as that. So once that's done, once it downloads, what we want to do, or while it is downloading, go to our local C drive, and I right click, go new, do a new folder, and I just name it Exiles Server, and we're going to go to our downloads, copy our dedicated launcher, go back to our Exiles Server, paste it in there. Once it's in our Exile server on our local drive, we want to launch this from here. We can close our file explorer for now. We need to know one other piece of information I forgot to get, and this is good practice for you. CMD, I need my own IP, so we're going to do IP config, config, did I IP oh, my brain is today. Alright, so our local IP is 192.168. Copy that. 28. In here, we want to set, because we're running this on our own machine, the other reason we want our ports to be different is because our machine is using the default ports to communicate with the server, so the server needs to be operating on different ports so that it can communicate outside, because the ports on our local machine are already being used by the game. That said, I know probably just confused the crap out of you. We want to go multi-home, we want that checkbox checked, and you want your local IP address in that box. Now, once that's done, let's change our ports. So we did 17779 to 80, that's what we have. And instead of 15, we did 19. We're gonna save, oh, the other thing I forgot to say. Oh no, there's a couple of other things we gotta do, sorry. Let's go ahead and do them here. I just named it Exile Server, you can name it whatever. This is important to do. Of course, we're gonna put in my password. And you're going to put in your password. You can leave those blank. Since we put in our ports, we want to test our accessibility. So let's give that a test. What do you know? Yeah, if you want to do Archon or Discord, look at the Conan Exiles FunCom website. They have exactly how to use those. Besides those, we'll get into the mod list. We'll get into how to mod the server in another video. Alright, so the last thing here is look at the number of cores that by default are being used. All 8 of my cores are going to be used by the server. We don't want that. I divvy it in half. You could even go 3 cores for the server. If it's just you and a couple of people playing, then you could go 3 core. But the lag if you do all available cores, the lag is unbearable. Once this is done, so we want to save our changes, then we want to hit the little big plus here. That'll start loading our game, well, our game server. You see, create a directory and it'll start loading all the Steam stuff in there. And this does take a long while. Start our game. Alright, and once all of this is loaded, we're going to launch our game. We'll test a few ports. Alright, let's launch server. Let's wait a little bit. So the last entry there, log server status ending report. The player's currently 0 uptime memory and then a bunch of numbers. That's our clue. You could have joined sooner. I always like to make sure it's completely running before I try to join it. So we want to play online at whichever one you want to do. Alright, always direct connect in our port. So we put a :7779. Password, of course, is my password. Now, when you tell it OK, this will disconnect from the game, reconnect. It does take a little bit. Alright, now it's going to attempt to join our game. Oh, couldn't connect to the server. Password not valid. Not. Password not valid. Alright, let's try it again. Password not valid. Okay, well, there's an easy way to solve that problem. Typed it wrong, but that's okay. It's not wrong now. And it loads the game. I will say, because it doesn't have all available cores of the processor available, sometimes it does seem a little slow to play. Again, that's why I give the server a 1 or 2 cores less than I think it would need. If you have all available cores selected and you have the server started before you start the game takes forever to load. Again, always start the game first, then start the server, and then get into the server. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I hope this video helped you solve your problems. Please remember to like, subscribe, share this video with friends you may know who have the same problem. I'm Lou the Pict, and this is Crack Mods in Gaming.